Okay, korang dengar. What's up guys? Welcome back. Aku dah record tu. Ada, dah record lah. Ni aku post betul tau. Claro top 3 of all time. My friend. I'm not gonna name him because I don't want the comments. Siapa yang tak buat hati to flame him. Yeah, everybody got their own opinion. That's what he says. That's what I say. So let's respect it. Anyways, we're gonna look at attempt. Okay. Attempt is an incomplete crime. But anyone who attempts a crime is still liable nonetheless. Cuma, maybe some of you will misunderstand this term as in macam, oh aku tak bunuh orang lagi. Aku ni the punishment should be the same as someone who actually murders people ke? No, what this means is actually no matter you have completed a crime or not, or if you merely attempted the crime, uh, the level of liability is the same. Kau still salah macam mana orang yang buat jahat salah, tapi you are liable for different things macam tu. Okay, there are three categories of an attempt in the penal code. Firstly, whereby the commission of the crime, which is the successful commission of the crime, as well as the attempt, is in the same provision, and there is the same punishment for both commission and the attempt of the crime macam tu. Maksudnya in the same provision, in one provision there is an attempt, there is also the successful commission of the crime, as well as the macam tu lah, same punishment as well as same punishment all in one provision. That's the first category. Secondly, different provisions and different punishments. That means for example, the attempt for theft is in this one provision, and the successful commission of a theft is in another provision, which both carry different punishments. That is the second category. Third, a general provision on attempt. Okay. Alhamdulillah. For crimes that don't have a specific attempt provision associated to it, we will generally use section 511 of the penal code, in which it broadly covers attempts of crimes lah macam tu. That is why we use this for anything that does not apply the first and second category macam tu. Okay. In general, in the case of Tiangga against Tiangia and another, attempt is an act done with the intent to commit crime and forms a series of acts constituting a crime if uninterrupted. Okay, so we will bring out the chain again. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's say this is the crime. And to get to the crime, you need 4 steps. You need all of these steps. Okay, attempt is here. Right here, betul tak? Wait, sini kan? Okay, so attempt is here. Before this is the preparation. So, okay. So from the case of Tiangia, which lays out the definition for an attempt, it is an act done with the intent to commit crime and forms a series of acts constituting a crime if uninterrupted. Let's just say that, okay, katakanlah saya kecilkan ni, and each of this partition makes satu chain link ni menjadi 2. So in total there are 10 lah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ada 10 rantai kat sini. What if the attempt constitutes 2 chains? This is what Tiangga and another also states. It forms a series of acts that constitute a crime if uninterrupted. Series of acts ni maksudnya these 2 chains plus these 2 chains lah macam tu. So this is what attempt is all about. Okay. There are 3 elements of an attempt as outlined in this case of state of Maharashtra against Muhammad Yaqub. Firstly, the act must be done towards the commission. This basically is the actus reus because obviously we're learning criminal. There must be an element of actus reus and mens rea in every crime lah. So this is the element of actus reus. Secondly, the intention to commit crime. Okay, we see the word intention, we already know is an element of mens rea. Thirdly, this is special towards the attempt, towards the topic of attempt, which is the act is proximate to the crime itself. So we'll go through this one by one. Firstly, the act is done towards the commission, which is the element of actus reus. We see that in the case of Houghton against Smith, it states that there must have an intention to commit the crime and an overt act to indicate it. Now, even though this case also outlines the intention which is the mens rea, we are going to focus this, the overt act to indicate it. Notice that in this case, they are using the word overt. Overt means there is an apparent act to indicate that the person intends to do the crime, which is why we put this case under the first element. Okay. And the act must go beyond preparations. Okay, I can't remember how many stages of a crime there is, but before a crime is being committed, there are, if I'm not mistaken, two stages before the commission of a crime. These are the stages. First, we have the preparation. Preparation is when you uh, lay out the plan. You look at the, contoh kau nak break into a bank, you look at the blueprint of the bank, you look at all of the flaws that the bank has. That is the preparation stage. Attempting to break into the bank is more advanced, so to say, than preparation, in which you actually go to the bank, you bring all of your tools with you, and you try to um, break into the bank, which is what this means. It must go beyond preparations. Preparing is just like, okay, aku dah ready nak buat, aku tengah mereadykan diri untuk buat benda ni. Beli ni, contact orang tu, cari benda, kumpulkan semua ni. That is preparation. Attempting going there and successful attempt is a crime. Macam tu lah. That is why the act must go beyond preparations. Okay, we have the penultimate act, which is the last act before the commission of crime, which is basically if the court wants to look at whether or not the the act in question is an attempt or not, they will look at the penultimate act, which is if there is a step before the commission of the act, is the act in question that is in dispute in the court today amounts to a penultimate act, macam tu. So the provision of a penultimate act is section 511, which also outlines the punishment of the penultimate act. So this is basically a small detour lah from our larger element. Okay, there are three elements to a penultimate act. Firstly, the act is done with intent. Secondly, the act is done towards the commission. And third, it is done in the course of an attempt. Macam tu. So this is a small detour. Okay, we're going here. We're done with the first element. Second element is intention to commit crime. This is the element of mens rea. We can see that in the case of Abhayanan Mishra, it is very much simple, in which the case states that they must have an intention to commit crime in the attempt itself. And secondly, in the case of Mohan, intention is amounting to specific intention, not merely the general knowledge of likely consequence. That means if you do something with the intention kau nak buat benda tu, that is what amounts to an attempt. You cannot do something, kan, you can do something, it's a free country. You can do something and you have a general knowledge of the consequence of that thing, of what that thing brings, but that does not amount to intention. Intention is you knowing and you doing it nonetheless, macam tu. Okay, that is basically the element of mens rea for the second element. Third is the act is proximate. Proximate is very close to the commission of the crime, which is again going back to the chain. It is very proximate. If you do it here, which is in the phase, notice that from here to here you have like 2 steps to go, or in this case 4 steps to go before the crime. But if you do it here, which is very approximate, very close to the crime itself, that is where attempt plays into the picture. Okay, we are relying on, I think this is a book called Criminal Law in Singapore and Malaysia, written by CMV Clarkson, which states that the action, or the action which is now in the action must be proximate to the completed offence. It is An action is considered an attempt when that is proof with sorry, Azim. An action is considered an attempt when shown with reasonable certainty about the intention to commit crime. Macam tu. So this senang cerita, is the act close towards the commission of the crime, and is it like if we interrupt that act, if we do not interrupt the act, kalau kita tak kacau orang tu in his course of attempt, will it terus amount to the crime? Macam tu. That is what proximity means. Okay, small detour again, attempting the impossible. This is where you are attempting to do a crime, but you cannot do it for one reason or another. Broadly, there are two categories that define what impossibility is. The first one is physical impossibility, which is where you attempt to do something, but you are held back by situations beyond your control. Paling senang nak cerita, nak bagi korang faham, kita guna case law terus, which is in the case of Munah binti Ali. So in this case, the accused wanted to abort her baby, but the plot twist is, this is a very shocking plot twist, she wasn't even pregnant to begin with. So she was literally, physically impossible to commit the crime. That is basically what physical impossibility is. You cannot control certain things, and that things that you cannot control were the ones that hold you back from committing the crime or attempting the crime. Secondly, is legal impossibility. This is where you want to do something bad, you did everything you can, turns out the thing that you want to do is not even illegal, so you are basically attempting to comply with the law lah, macam tu. So that is about it. So I think I've covered everything, and that's what. So yeah.